Stay tuned, we're finally here. We get to do the walkthrough of the caravan. Hi all, welcome back. We finally got here and we're going to do this walkthrough for the caravan. And is that on record, Gary?
Yes.
Excellent. I don't know what happened last time. Anyway, we'll start with the kitchen. We've got some great overhead cupboards. I tend to keep my plates, my spare containers. I've been using containers and boxes before Marie Kondo was ever born. Anyway, we've got I've got my cloths in here. I love to use recycled cloths. I've got them all nice and neat and tidy there. All little bits and pieces up there, and we've got some rags in case we have some oil spills or whatever that I can just destroy or throw away. Oh, I have to leave it open. Got a great little ledge here for a couple of little bits and pieces, and I've just actually put some spices there. We've got our cups and our glasses there, a couple of serving trays up here, and our little accessory tray with our torches and remotes just handy there. The next cupboard is my plastics, my little bits and pieces, a couple of takeaway. Up here I've got paper and stuff, so next time we have a campfire and we need some fire lighters, I've got that there ready to go. All my plastics and bits and pieces there. So that's this side of the up cupboards. Beautiful cupboards, and because we've got the Excalibur range, we have this extra ledge, beautiful ledge here, so that when this comes down it protects the cupboard as much as the door. Okay, leading on to the bottom of the cupboards, a great amount of prep space. A lot of caravans don't have the space in the kitchen, but I'm actually pretty lucky, even to the fact that I can actually put a chopping board that I got from Kmart that fits perfectly onto there. So I've actually got some great working space here. Right at the end I have my stove. It doesn't operate unless you've got it up, and we have a Hawk Series 600. We've got 3 gas burners, one when you're actually hooked into power, easy to ignite. We've got our grill here, oven here. It's actually set up for move-in mode at the moment when we travel, so that it doesn't rattle. I just tend to leave it that way. But we have used the oven, and the stove is fantastic. Actually, I might get a pot out, show you how much room we do have on the top. It's only a small pot there, but if I was to have 2 items on there, you can see that there's plenty of room. So I can actually have a bigger fry pan on that cooking space. It's brilliant. And we don't have a kettle, as in electric kettle. We like to boil our water this way. Anyway, that's the stove. Moving on. I guess I'll do the surface first. We've got the sink, as I showed you before. That's brilliant, that board. And that was just a Kmart board. It just fits perfectly. On our tap, we've got hot cold, and with our range came standard with a water filter, and the water filter actually sits down in this cupboard, whether you can see in there. The water filter is just here. And we've got heaps of room in that cupboard. Even the fact we've got heaps of room downstairs there that we haven't used yet. I'll just pop that away. On our last travels, we found that spot was great to pop our bread in. Opposite the kitchen, we have the fridge. It's a 200 and something litres, the freezer part. And last time we went away, we were able to put 2 loaves of bread, had still heaps of room for our frozen meat and veggies in there. And then another tip that I use is for travelling is I use these plastic tubs. I tend to put all dairy or like stuff in there, so that all my dairy goes in one, all my cabana and meats etc. goes in another one. And that way when we're travelling on a bumpy road or whatever it might be, that they're only going to go to there, they're not going to fall out and make a mess all over the place. They were perfect in my last caravan and I've continued to do that with here. We've got more space underneath I don't use, and then right next to the...
Oh, there's stubby in there.
You're a bit slack, Gary. Next to the fridge we have a pull-out pantry, and Gary let me buy Tupperware to put that in because I think you can't beat Tupperware. It's, yeah, so staying fresh, ready for our next travels. So all we need to do is pack up the fresh stuff and our clothes and go. And then the next ones down are all pull-outs. Another tip is that you put all your tins and your heavy things to the bottom. Again, if a door or whatever opens, you've got less chance of it flying out and making a missile and making a huge mess. So all pull-outs all the way down. We tend to put our bin there, it's just a nice little nook. There's the heavier tins. And this one we use for our outside. So it's got our mozzie coils, citronella candles, so that when we're outside we know exactly that's our outside drawer. And that's that side. We're now in the ensuite. Of course, that thing down there is called a toilet. We have a window also, these standard in here. On the door we've got this little latchy thing that you can latch in so when we're travelling that the door stays stable. That little contraption there is a broom that I bought from Kmart, probably the best $7 I spent.
Yeah, Kmart are getting a good plug in this.
They are. Do you reckon they'll sponsor me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got 3 attachments. I've got heading now into the bedroom. We have a telly that's on a hooky thing, and that, well, I don't know what it's called, but that bracket thing used to be up here, and Gary's moved it down here, which was a much better idea because we were sitting on the TV with sore necks looking up like this at the TV, whereas now it's a much better way, and it just sits there. When we travel though, it actually comes off the hook, sits on the bed. It's not too heavy. Come into the bedroom. This thing's called a bed. It's a double bed, and we opted to have the pillow top. That was one of the extras we added, was a pillow top mattress, because we had heard that they're much more comfortable, and we cannot complain about this bed whatsoever. Very, very comfortable. Each side has a wardrobe. It actually goes quite back there. I've actually got 2 trays in there, as you can see. So there's enough space. I know some people put cupboards in, but for the time being, we're going to leave it as is. Then that little cupboard doesn't open as a drawer. It just comes out, and that accesses inside of our, but we've both got a little cubicle which has plugs there if you have a CPAC machine or you need to do anything. If we need to charge our phones, we do it through our little lights. All our lights do, and we've got a Sirocco fan each for a little bit of comfort. The next drawer down, obviously for knickers or whatever in that one. And then we've both got one of these ones. Again, I opted to put some baskets in because otherwise all your stuff will go so far way back there and there's no way I'm going to be able to get hold of it. So yeah, just fold it nicely, whatever, into those. Gary's got exactly the same on his side. While I'm here, do you want me to demonstrate the window, Gary? I'll just move that out of the way. Recently Gary has changed the windows round so that we've got the screen coming down and the blockout coming up. That way at night we're in a hot place, we can have the window slightly open. Whoa! We can have it up to where we want it and still have a breeze coming through, but we still got our privacy. So that was a really good thing he did there. But again, they let it up. Windows are really easy to open. It's just a matter of opening up the latches. There's quite a few of them, and it just pushes. Look, you push it out with a finger. It's just, and it just clicks into place. And then of course, wrong way now. Pull down your screen, bug free, and then close it up. Again, so easy. Just make sure you have all of those closed when you're travelling, so that none of your windows get.
And a lot of vans these days have got these windows, so yeah, so they're user friendly.
Yeah. So that's the bedroom.
Yeah.
Just continuing on with the bench space. One of our additions that we did, we bought this online, is our keychain. We found that that's the best way not to lose a key, because if one of those is missing, I'll just say to Gary, have you got that key, blah blah blah, and yeah, it gets put back, and therefore we don't lose one. The front door one goes here. Okay, that's the bench. Under the bench we have our microwave that sits in there. And another tip that I have when we're travelling is that I've made a cover for the glass to just keep that protected, and it just slips into the sleeve there, and I just know now that that's safer for travelling, and I tend to use that to have that bowl upside down. That way it does not move around as much. Underneath is where I store my pots. Another tip is you don't need every size pot in the range. You need a good fry pan, a good pot, a small, medium, and that's basically all you need. The best thing to do is to be able to use one item in a number of different ways to save space.
And one of the best pots we've got in there, open that again, Denise. Little fry pan for the baby Q that are sunboarders, and that never stops being used.
Yeah, that gets used nearly every day.
Yeah.
It's a ripper. Underneath here we've just got storage. We've just got our manuals sitting in a tray. I tend to use a lot of baskets. That way things are just better. You saw under that one before. We've got our utilities, we've got our knives and forks, all our other utilities. I've got all my baking papers and all that sort of stuff, bags, etc. They're stored away there, and that one's got nothing under it. The one at the bottom here has try to do one hand. We've got a little another one there. We actually put a lid on that one. It's got our bits and pieces, repair kit, all those sorts of things all together, tapes, batteries, and that just sits under there nicely. Gary wants me to show off my quilt. I guess it took me, when we got rid of Millie, our last caravan, and we were waiting those 2 years for this one to come, I wanted to keep inspired, and by keeping myself busy, I made a quilt inspired by our travels. Lighthouses that we came, the Unadata track, the dips were on that track. Obviously time for adventure. Sometimes we just sat and talked caravans, happy hour, and of course the flies. That was inspired by the Nullarbor trip. Campfires. Yeah, so that's my quilt. Opposite the kitchen we have our chairs, dining room, whatever you want to call it. I'll quickly do the cupboards above, and that way I can move the chairs out. We've got nothing in them. We haven't overpacked this van yet, but look, they're quite deep. Some great storage. Next one here, our controller for our radio, which plays inside or outside. The inverter, you switch one when you're off grid. Anyway, I don't need to go through all that, but it's all there. And we've got the things called old school CDs, because this little jigger here plays CDs and our car doesn't. And we opted for recliner chairs that came with this model. This one's called a Nobleman. The beautiful thing about this table, comes out, heaps of room to sit and eat, or put a computer or play cards, whatever it might be. But then when you don't need it, you just opt it away. And then as you're traveling, there's a little thing down there to keep it nice and neat. We have stuff down the bottom there, only games and stuff. It's probably not worth it, but all those are empty as well. So we've got more room down there.
Action.
So while we're over in the bedroom, there's two new things that we did add to the normal range, and one of them was a gas heater, and they've put the controls, we didn't ask them, but this is where they've put the control next to Gary's side. So therefore, when we're really cold in bed, we can just whack it on, heat up the caravan before we get out of the caravan. And I cannot complain so far about that gas heater. It is just brilliant. And the vent for that comes out just under the bed there. Another thing while we're in this section is our, I think it's called DRS, dust reduction system or something like that. Anyway, it's when you're on dirt roads and stuff, it pressurizes your van to keep the dust out of all those little places that you don't want it to come into. There is a filter in there that will need changing from time to time. But the beauty thing about this one is that we don't have to actually press a button or turn it on. As soon as we're driving, that's what it does. It pressurizes straight away. So dirt road, main road, whatever. Brilliant. So do you want to have a look under the bed? So
Roger.
Under the bed is the control system.
And the heater.
And the heater. So we have our two batteries. We opted again for one extra battery because we're running a compressor fridge. We felt that we just wanted to make sure. That's our inverter there, which goes to, I think, 8 points in our caravan. All the black points that you see in our caravan, we can use with the inverter. That's the system. I have no idea how it works, but that's converts the solar to the battery. And this thing down here, just jigger, is our gas heater. So you've got your vent coming in and your vent coming out. So there would be room to put a few bits and pieces in there under the bed. So that's a general That's a general look inside our caravan. If there's anything that you want me to go into deeper, let me know. If you want to know some tips, let me know. If I haven't explained things, let me know as well. So please leave a comment, give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe. That way we know our channel is growing and that you're enjoying our content. We look forward to seeing you next week. Hopefully we get to do a little bit of a walkthrough on the outside where Gary can explain a few more things. I think we ran through all the extras that we had. Oh, there's one more thing I didn't do. The two tones of the colours of our cupboards. If you can see, if you went around the caravan, you could see that some of the top cupboards are white, whereas the bottom cupboards are grey. And we're going to go a darker grey, but if you look into the ensuite, Gary, show it to the ensuite. No, from where that's where you are. If you look into the ensuite, you can actually see when we had a darker colour, it was too dark, whereas at the moment it's just right. So yeah, that's our two tones. So we had to pay extra for the two tones. We bought an extra solar panel on the top of the roof, for more solar because we want to do off-grid. You saw the extra battery, the gas heater, the DRS, and the pillow top bed. I think that was all the extras that we chose on the caravan. We could have gone a lot more, but then the money goes up, so we're happy with what we chose. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Uru.
Uru.